While it is true that the country is in the thick of another wave of the coronavirus pandemic and systems have been distorted, the loss of learning needs to be analyzed and contextualized. Unfortunately, this conversation is not forthcoming. Philbert Baguma, the General Secretary of the Uganda Teachers Union, says it cannot be business as usual in the education sector.
The only way to go is the current senior 1 to transit to senior 2. Then the P7s who completed join senior 1. But in terms of content, you have to arrange and make sure that what the current senior 1s did not cover is what you start with in senior 2.
Patrick Kaboyo, the National Secretary of the Federation of Non-State Education Institution, or FENI, says there are no shortcuts to delivering education, and the Line Ministry needs to have an open conversation with all stakeholders to chart a way forward.
These 2 years of not studying or not having an instructor means a lot in terms of concepts, means a lot in terms of comprehension, means a lot in terms of knowledge for applying what these learners have gotten at all levels. But majority of the learners in the countryside have been left out because their only source of knowledge has been the teacher.
They designed the curriculum and allocated time to this curriculum. Now this time is no longer there because we are in catch-22. Right now, we don't have candidate classes because we were expecting the sub-candidate classes to join the candidate classes in July.
There is need for a paradigm shift in how the curriculum should be delivered to the 2 senior 1 classes, with some stakeholders suggesting that students should study in shifts. Dr. Goreti Nakabugo, the Executive Director of Uwezo Uganda, says compressing the school curriculum and instituting catch-up classes is the way to go.
Actually, in the refugee context, they have what they call an accelerated learning program, or ALP, and I think you've heard of it, whereby they compress, for example, the primary school curriculum in 3 years. The other one is that once they have progressed, of course, maybe the learning may not be as well as it would have been if it was covered 1 year. Then you think of having catch-up programs.
The only beauty in it is that they will be having other 3 years to cover. So within the 3 years, you make sure there is reasonable content taught to them. It will not be all because the time is not enough.
However, the success of such a shift is hinged on stemming the tide of teachers who are leaving the profession to try their hand at something else. Uganda's 8th Learning Assessment Report, released by Uwezo in 2019, revealed declining literacy and numeracy levels of primary 3 to primary 6 students between 2015 and 2018. It can be assumed that after 2 lockdowns, learning outcomes will continue to decline.
But when the schools reopen, we must appreciate that there's a problem and ensure that, and know that there are some children actually who are lagging behind. They are not at the same level, and ensure that there are some catch-up programs in terms of remedial teaching and learning.
The unfortunate bit is that even while we are in the lockdown, there is not much that is being done in terms of increasing infrastructure. So how are we going to manage these numbers amidst social distance?
The effects of the loss of learning might not be felt in 1 or 2 years. However, if not addressed today, it will catch up with the country a few years down the road, manifesting in a disjointed and ineffective human resource. Gillian Nantume, NTV Weekend Edition.